So I continue talking about my work experience of having worked in a bank or banks and then certain other company, and overall my understanding of how the corporates are working. And mind you, I can tell you, if this is how the highly educated in the banks are working, you can imagine how the politicians are working, how other companies and corporates are working. This is not a isolated experience sharing. As I said again, everybody is hiring from the same pool of people or almost a similar colleges for for that matter. So let us come to crunching numbers. That I had ended my vlog of part 3b by saying that I will talk about crunching numbers, of how corporates or even banks are crunching numbers. You know, when I started working, I did lot of direct sales, which means you go door to door and you do selling. And mostly it was credit cards that I was selling, or there were some online product. And the product in my hand was just a brochure always, and we would explain how the whole online product is and then make a sale. And I worked in a DSA, and I will tell you today, after having worked in a DSA, a MNC, and a private sector bank, I can tell you that DSA had a texture and a feel of a MNC, and the MNC that I worked in had a texture and a feel of a DSA. It was like a shit pool. And private sector bank has its own set of issues and it's not functioning as well. But that is the story across corporates. Now, so when I was working with this DSA, it had amazing culture control. We never missold, and if someone did missell, you were out the next day. The only thing that could go wrong was we are selling a bad product. Nothing wrong with how we were selling. So I remember there was one online product which was from one of the very big corporates, and that product was not good. For example, we did sell it. So me and there were a lot of other people who were working in the DSA, we did sell that product. But that product and that organization who had floated the product did not have a very robust system of delivering on that product. And I remember once when I was in one locality and I'm going door to door selling, one shopkeeper told me, "You stay here, don't go." And this was a very strange experience for me. I said, "Sir, what happened?" He said, "So the he had bought one product before from a somebody from who was my colleague, and that product had not done well. It was about paying electricities. It was a product on bill junction something, and the product was that the company said we will pay the bill for you, and then it did not pay the bill. and somebody's light got cut, somebody's you know some other water bill got cut. All the nonsense started happening because this private sector organization, which said that we will pay the bills for you, did not have a robust team or infrastructure in place to pay the bills. So we sold saying that this organization will collect all your bills and pay it for you, so you don't have a headache, or it will do a direct mandate. And then it started taking the money but did not start paying the bills. So किसी की लाइट कट गई, किसी का पानी का बिल कट पानी कट गया, so all the nonsense started happening. So this shopkeeper, so then we stopped selling the product and then we started selling some other product. But this shopkeeper recognized from our folders, he recognized that I am from the same organization which was selling bill junction product before. And he said, you stay here. He said, you know, तो मैं बात करता हूँ अभी. So I didn't know what was happening. And he said, were you selling this product before, which was bill junction? I said, yes, our company was selling it before, which was a DSA. We said, yes, we were selling it before. And he said, मेरा पता है इससे कितना नुकसान हुआ है, how much loss I have made because of this product. And you know, I knew people that made mistakes, made losses because of the organization not delivering, but I didn't know how bad or how unhappy people were. And then he started searching his application form to show me the losses and something. But that day he couldn't find it. And then I waited for 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I said, sir, if you, whenever you find it, just let me know, I'm around here. And I will then take your application further as a grievance. But that day, then he couldn't find it, and then, that's more or less about it. After 10 days, one of my colleagues came back to the DSA after the whole day's work of selling and all of that, and he was beaten up by those same shopkeepers. And I don't know, I think they called the cops also on him. And that time I understood that shopkeeper, after showing me the application form, would have called the cops on me. That these are the people who sold us this bad product. That guy, the colleague, got beaten up, very badly thrashed. And then, the organization did whatever complaints and all. So all I'm trying to say is, this is the section 1 where I'm talking about crunching numbers. Even though we did not missell, there were repercussions of having sold a bad product. So even if you sell right and there is a bad product, somebody got beaten up. Now I will talk the part 2 to you. I was working with American Express cards for some time. And when I went to that organization, I was surprised how much people were just forging signatures, forging some salary slips, putting the signatures on the applications themselves, and just creating the whole application sitting in the office. Coming from a DSA, we had the golden culture there. Nobody missold ever. We were trained so well. As I said, that DSA had a feel and workings of a MNC, and this MNC, which was American Express credit cards, had a feel and flair of a DSA. Every other person was just doing some applications which were not so nice or good. And I understood that this has been going on for quite some time. See, it was not happening openly, but it was an open secret. Everybody knew about it. Thankfully, some complaint went or something got triggered, and then the management woke up and they shut the whole thing out, or they sacked each and every employee out. And then they have now staffed the new set of people there, and I hope there are better cultures, controls in place. So one, I told you that despite selling well, the product is bad and the person gets beaten up. Second is, product is golden. American Express card is golden if you get it. Lot many people will get it, not many will qualify it. But almost every other person was selling it like a bad product. You don't have to missell a American Express credit card. It's a golden product. So product is golden, but there's a shit selling it to the customers. So this is the second example in crunching numbers. I'll give you the third example. I went for an interview once to one insurance company, and as the interview continued, this person asked me, what is your background, what is your qualification, blah 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 blah. And then he says, to sell insurance, you will need a client book. And I said, yes, sir. I'm in an interview. I said, yes, sir. He said, where will you get the client book from? I said, I could visit corporates, offices, or some, do some camp, or just go selling in some high posh localities. He said, no, like this you can't sell insurance. Insurance gets sold to people you know. You have to first sell it to people you know. And then he says, can you manage to get 100 people's name and phone numbers and addresses? Who you know? And I said, 100 is no problem. Because when you are young, you know way lot of people. And he's just asking for addresses and phone numbers. I said, 100 is no problem. He said, 100 people's names and phone number and addresses is no problem. I said, no. This is still an interview going on. He said, get me the list then. I said, sir, I'll eventually get the list if you want the list, but you know, what is the progression with this interview? He said, oh, baad mein, we will see the interview later. First, you get me the list of 100 peoples with names and phone numbers. And the interview ended there. And then the person who had set up the interview, he called me up and he says, he's a very good area sales manager, and he's just saying कि अगर ये 100 नेम्स एंड नंबर्स लेके आ गई, एड्रेस एंड फ़ोन नंबर्स, तो मैं इसको जॉब दे दूँगा. The consultant is telling this to me, that if you bring that area sales manager who took my interview, that he said if I bring 100 names and addresses to him, he will give me the job. I didn't understand this. And then I understood it. You know, when I say there is a problem with the banking world collectively, there is a even more deeper problem with the insurance world. He would have got me, bring him the names and addresses, given me the job, and then told me, now sell to these people. Sell to your own family and friends. So this is how the industry is working. Even without or before hiring, he is giving me this whole nonsense about bringing him names and addresses, and then he will hire me. This is how he will crunch numbers. This is not sales. But he's sitting there and doing this nonsense. Because some very big organization or MNC from overseas has tied up hands with some Indian organization and said, let's roll out the insurance business. In India, a lot of people don't speak English. All the forms are in English. All the RMs, BMs, whatever relationship managers speak English. They are mis-selling products to remote areas. Once I went to my village, and my aunt, my mom's sister, she just showed me one form and she said, what is this? And it was an insurance. I said, you have filled this form, taken this, and you don't know what is this? And then she said, yeah, I know. He told me put so much money, at least for 3 years, and then you will get the return like this, like that. I will tell you, for the good of this set of people in India, people who don't speak English and who don't understand these financial products, please don't keep mis-selling products to them. And when I told her, let me go speak to this man who sold this to you, she was too scared. She said, no, 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 I don't want to make him upset. This, that. I said, but how did he sell it to you? She said, he just kept calling, non-stop calling. Ma'am, there is money in your account. Ma'am, there is a money in your account. Take this insurance policy. There is money in the account. This is what bankers are doing today. Just because someone they see has a money in their account, they'll stick to you like a parasite and sell you a insurance, and they won't stop calling you. They did the same thing to my dad. He retired and he comes home, went back home to our village. He's 60 years old. Only once I remember him saying that I'm fed up of this girl from HDFC who just keeps saying, sir, you have so much money in your account, just buy this, buy this, buy this product, buy this product, buy this insurance product. He said, I've told her, I don't want it, I don't want it. And after that, when I visited, after some time when I visited back home, my dad said she didn't stop. She just came, took me on her scooty, made me meet her boss, her some boss, and they just kept on saying buy, buy, buy. And then finally, for her sake, I bought it. This is how they are crunching numbers. My dad also wouldn't tell me her name. He's saying it's okay, she's young, I was helping her. When Indian population, 60% of India's population is below poverty line, they don't, they're not ready for a financial product. Even the ones who are above the poverty line are not ready for a financial product. My aunt, I would classify as below poverty line. My dad, okay, he's above poverty line, but look at his age. Does he qualify for a insurance product? This is how they are crunching numbers in the industry. Why is nobody able to put a handle and stop their growth? You can't go so deep into rural areas and start selling. You can only have 4 branches in metros or 4 more in top B tier cities. But nobody's stopping. ICICI Bank, Barclays, Yes Bank, whatever other bank, HDFC, Kotak Mahindra Bank, they're all just going on expanding. Open a branch here, open a branch here. All insurance organizations also, nobody's, nipping them. You can't open any more branches. They have such great, huge growth plan. They're mis-selling and stealing from people. Why is the administrator not looking at this problem? Why is nobody doing anything about mis-selling? Or the intense pressure these RMs and people from the banks and branches put on people to buy. You know why? Because half of, more than not half, 90% of India is celebrating Chandrayaan 3. More than 70,000 crore rupee has been burnt to fly Chandrayaan 3 to the moon. We don't need a Chandrayaan 3 when you have 60% of Indian population below poverty line. You can't burn money like this. That British reporter is very right. India should return the aid money. You can't fly a Chandrayaan when you borrow money to help people or help the country out. That money should have been spent on people. But you know what? The administrator is even more low quality than these bankers and insurance people. I have years of sales experience and never missold even once. Never. I always sold right. And I myself used to tell clients, sir, please don't buy any more than this. This is not suited to you. But look at the way people are selling. You know why? Because nobody is teaching how to sell. They're just crunching numbers. मेरे को इतना ला के दे, मेरे को इतना करके दे. So that guy is just selling anyhow. They're making 20,000 calls or 20 calls in a day to same one person just to sell that one policy. Because ऊपर the boss is saying, sell anyhow, bring me that number anyhow. So this is part 1 of crunching numbers. I'm going to add the part 2 because I can't upload a longer video than this.